Good evening, guys, and then welcome to. I think this is the first session we are going to do where we're going to be doing market outlook. We're going to be looking at what opportunities we had in the market for the week, and then which opportunities we basically missed. So I'm going to be looking at AUDUSD primarily because it's AUDUSD that we had a lot of opportunities on, and then we'll still talk about the ones that I saw that we also missed. So when we look at, we'll basically look at opportunities we took and then why I basically took those trades. So the thing here is that I don't want a situation whereby I'm just giving you guys signals and then you're not learning anything. Do you get? So avenues like this will basically help us so that you guys get to see how I'm coming up with these trades so you guys can go back and then replicate this same thing on your charts. Are you guys getting the whole idea? So that's why I'm basically doing this whole thing. So let me use Go Charts and Go Charts. Actually, the network is somehow bad. So let's look at the Telegram group and then see what trade we had first this week. So this was 15th April. I think this was the first trade we had for this week. That was on 20th April. Yes, this was the first trade we had. So let me look at the charts. 20th April, that was on Monday. So AUD yes. Okay, on the 1 hour time frame. So let's look at Monday. I think this was it. Yes, this was it basically. Yeah, let me see. Yeah. This was it basically. Yes, price came back to take us out. So this is the trade idea. Now, why I actually decided to take this trade was because if you actually look at this, if you look at this, we'll start from the 4 hour time frame. You'd see that price actually price, if you look at the 4 hour time frame, you see that price was in an uptrend. Price was creating a series of higher high, higher low, higher high, and then price created this low. Now, if you look at this, you see that this low actually broke below this most recent one here. So at this moment, the market actually shifted structure. Do you get? So at this point now, what I was basically looking out for was sell opportunities. Do you get? So, and we saw that the market started retracing back to the upside. So we're looking at oil price stopping and then continuing to the downside. But then we had to break this down to the 1 hour time frame. Are you guys paying attention? Are you guys with me? If you're with me, just drop emojis in the chat box so I know that you guys are with me. Okay, good, good. So let's continue. Now, the market already shifted. It was in an uptrend, but then it shifted to a downtrend at this point. So I dropped to the 1 hour time frame. One sec. This was the 1 hour time frame. And if you look at this, you see that we had almost the same thing, where price actually created this higher high and then broke to the downside and then started retracing back up. So what I did at this point was basically plot Fibonacci from the most recent high to the most recent low. Do you understand? At this point now, what I was looking out for was for price to push up, tap this level, and then drop to the downside for something like this. Are you guys getting the whole idea? That was what I was basically looking out for. Now, the moment price actually tapped into this level, let's see. The moment price tapped into this level, I basically broke this whole setup down into the 5 minutes for confirmation. Do you understand? Price already tapped at 0.618, so I dropped to the 5 minutes to look for extra confirmation before we jumped on the trade. So this is price basically tapping the 0.618 line. As you can see, we have the 0.618 line there. Price tapped. So what I was looking for in this case now was a shift in market structure to the downside. So let's see if we actually got it. Yeah, at this point, we actually got it. So price broke this low to the downside. In this case now, I was looking at price coming back to tap that level and then sell for something like this. So entry here, stop loss a few pips above here, and then target was basically the 1 hour low, which was somewhere down here. Um, one sec. Yeah. So the target was down here, yes, down here. That was what I was basically targeting. So this was our setup. And that was a 1 to, let me see, a 1 to 9 risk to reward, something like this. I think we had like 14 or 15 pips, something slightly like this. So at this point, I was basically waiting for price to come back, tap this level, and then react. Now, you see this candlestick basically tapped it. And I think that was what kicked us in. So at this point, the trade was active. So it was basically to watch and then see how it played out. Basically something like this. Do you guys get the whole idea? So it was from the 4 hour time frame. The 4 hour time frame was actually the 4 hour time frame was actually bearish. And if you look at this, to a certain level, we're not wrong because price actually came back. If you observe, if you actually jumped on this trade on Monday with us, you see that price eventually came back to take us out. Do you understand? Price came back, created this low, went back up. We came down here. We're almost hitting our take profit, and then price went back up to take us out. But immediately it took us out, it still came back again. Are you guys getting the idea? Are you guys with me? So it was actually something sad. Our bias was actually correct, but then if we actually held this stop loss slightly above this place now, we would have had like a very wonderful trade. Now, this was like the first setup we saw on AUDUSD. Let me show you guys the second one. So the second setup was after price pushed to the downside here and then created a low. Yeah, and then price went back up to tap this level up here. Now, this was the setup I gave. I think this was the setup I gave you guys, and then I told you guys that, oh, I was not feeling the setup and all. Let me see. I think this was it. Yes, this was it. Where price actually tapped this resistance level here. Yeah, price tapped this resistance level here. And what we're looking out for basically was something like this. Was an entry here, and I think stop loss slightly above here. Or was there a confirmation on the lower time frame? Yeah, and then target like this. This was what I was basically looking at. Sorry, that's the wrong one. Something like this. Entry here, and then stop loss here, and then target down here. And this trade actually played out. It hit CP, I think, was it yesterday or day before yesterday? This was the setup we had. Now, since I was not trusting this setup, another one came again on this same AUD I think, let me look and see if I can recognize it. But then this one, I actually missed it. I think it was this one now, yeah, something like this. Yeah, it was this one. Was it this one? Let me see. There was one that price actually stopped at like the 0.618 level. But then that's like the second trade we actually took. The reason why I took it was because, let me cut it and then put it there. So the reason why I took this trade here, or the reason why I gave you guys this trade, it was because price already was in the downtrend on the 4 hour time frame. And then at this point, the market broke to the downside here to create a lower low. Do you understand? And then price started retracing to the upside. Now, As price was retracing to the upside, we had a resistance level here that price basically formed. So immediately price tapped inside. I was looking at price stopping there and then pushing to the downside. Now, I'm not going to lie. The problem I had with this trade was that you see, as price tapped into this level, price basically did something like this, where we have lower low, lower high, failure to create lower low, and as if this candlestick broke above, like it wanted to initiate a shift in market structure. That was why I was like, nah, I'm not going to take this trade. Do you understand? That's why I told you guys that, oh, it's looking like a high risk setup, so you guys should be very, very careful with it. Do you understand? That was the only reason why I did not agree to jump on this trade. And this one actually played out. So I think lessons learned here is that next time if we see a setup like this, I know we're going to be careful with it, but at the same time, we would actually execute it. We'll see that price is actually behaving a certain type of way, we'll actually execute the trade. Are you guys with me? Now let's look at something like gold. Let's just look at the other opportunity I said I missed on AUDUSD, and I think it was this one. I think so. Oh, was it that one? Let me see. No, it was this one here. Yes, it was this one here. So this one was actually a very simple setup that if we actually took, would have had like nice profits in a short time. So if you look at this, you see that price was still creating in between here. One sec. In between here, price was creating lower low, lower high. And then price pushed to the downside from here to create another lower low. Do you understand? And then price started retracing to the upside. Now, if we plot our Fibonacci from the most recent high, which is here, to the most recent low, you see that our 0.618 level was here. Now, when using Fibonacci now, where we're looking to take our sell is actually what? At the 0.618. We're looking at price coming to tap the 0.618 level and then sell to the downside. Now, let's observe how price played out at this one. Price actually came to tap. This was the candlestick that tapped the 0.618 level. And if we're looking to jump on this trade, what we would have done basically was sell here at the 0.618. Stop loss a few pips above 0.79, and then we target either the 0 or minus 0.27 for something like this or something like this. This would have been like the obvious trade. And this one actually happened. I think it was like 2 candlesticks or 3 candlesticks that hit take profits. When I saw it, honestly, I was totally, it's not like I was actually paid. I'm not going to lie, I was paying because we were looking for, like throughout this week, we were looking for a clean sell on AUDUSD. The only one that worked, we did not really take it. Are you guys getting the whole idea? So the whole thing was very, very, I'm not going to say very, very painful, but it was actually painful. Do you guys get? So yeah, that was basically the whole setup on AUDUSD. Let me see which other trade did we actually take. Okay, I think these were like the two signals I dropped. This first one. Oh, okay, yeah, there was this sell limit on AUDUSD. So I'm going to explain this one. This one that our stop loss was hit. Let me explain why I decided to send this one. So it was something like this. Yes, this was it basically. I think this was it. This was the point. So if you look at this, you see that the market actually pushed the downside to create this lower low. It was still the same AUDUSD. So if you see, we had this whole support onto resistance here. And at this point, if you drop to the 5 minutes time frame, you'd see that. One sec, let it load. You'd see that when price tapped into this level, we're having series of higher high, higher low. We failed to create a higher high, higher low. We failed to create another one, and then price broke below. So that was why I was like, okay, let us have a sell limit here. Sell limit here, entry here. Do you understand? This was what I was looking out for basically. Something like this. Sell, stop loss slightly above here, and then we target the 1 hour low, which was down here. Something like this. Something like this. And then price, it was actually going good for a while. And then price went out to take us out. So something like this. Yeah, at this point we jumped on it, and then price basically did like it was going well for a while, and then price went out to like take out the stop loss. And then this is another thing I want to talk about. You guys know very well that I hardly use anything other than Fibonacci to trade. And on this day, I decided to go and use flip zones. Do you get? And I actually wanted to make a video about this that anytime you decide to break your trading rules, the market will always find a way to punish you. Do you understand? To remind you that you should always stick to the rules. Now, on this day, I think it was because of FOMO. I did not want to miss this trade. Do you get? That's why I said, oh, let's jump on it here. I felt like the market will actually sell from here. I did not know that it will actually get to the 0.618 level. And if I plot Fibonacci from the top to the low here, you see that where price eventually went to go and tap to react this week was actually that Fibonacci level that I was basically looking for a sell at. So look at this. Price actually tapped that 0.618. Let me increase the speed of this stuff. So see where price basically reacted at that 0.618 level. Even when price went back up to tap that level again, you can see that it did not pass the 0.618 level. And all the shenanigans AUDUSD basically did throughout this week. Yeah, one sec. All the shenanigans AUDUSD did throughout this week. It did not pass, one sec. It did not pass that 0.618 level. It was that 0.618 level that price reacted and then sold to the downside. You see that eventually price actually came out to hit that that zero level take profits. So see it here. See when price came to hit that take profit. So even if we just decided to sell using Fibonacci, like and then entering aggressively and putting stop loss up here, price would have eventually come to hit our take profit. Do you understand? So I think that's basically the lesson I've learned in this case. Do you understand? And then the opportunity we missed was that other one, that internal Fibonacci inside this place here. So this coming week, I'm going to be very much attentive, and then we'll see what trades you can get. Now, gold has been very tricky. I don't think I had like any good entries on gold at all this week. Let me see. Were there any opportunities we missed on gold? I doubt. Because I was paying attention to it throughout. I did not see any opportunity that would have caught. Okay, yeah, see this one here. So see this one. But then this one, why I did not take it, was because it did not work with Fibonacci. And then at the same time, it did not work with support onto resistance, resistance onto support. So if we plot our Fibonacci here from the most recent high to the most recent low, you see that our Fibonacci level is here. Now watch what happened. Price went up to tap that 0.79 level before selling. Now, if you're familiar with Fibonacci, you know that your stop loss is supposed to be a few pips above that 0.79 level. Do you understand? That's where you're looking for a sell to the downside. And that's where price basically tapped before we got that sell to the downside. And I think eventually this one to hit take profits. Do you understand? So I think these are corrections that I'm going to look to implement this coming week and then make sure that we actually milk the market, milk it very well. So hopefully this week is going to be like a better week. We would wait till Monday before we do our market outlook, where we would come and look at which opportunities we would get. Do you understand, for the coming week? So that's basically it. These are like the two setups, or these are like the two currency pairs I had opportunities on. Do you guys have any questions or any suggestions before we call it an evening? Okay. Okay, BTC USD and then AUD USD. Oh, sorry, and then USD JPY. So let me see, was there any trade on BTC USD? So I'm going to say this. So this is not like our normal analysis session. That one is going to come on Monday. Do you understand? But I'll still just give insights on BTC USD so that you guys, so that we can see what it's basically doing and which opportunities we missed or which opportunities we could get. So this is BTC USD. Let's look at the 4-hour time frame. Now, on the 4-hour time frame, currently BTC is bullish. So if we look at this, you see that price has been creating higher high, higher low. We fail to create higher high here, higher low, and then another higher high. And the market is retracing to the downside. So as it's retracing to the downside like this, we'll go to the 1 hour. It's supposed to more or less look like a downtrend. But then I think it's looking like a range actually. It's ranging on this 1 hour time frame. Yeah, it's ranging on this 1 hour time frame. So before I actually decide to buy, since it's bullish on the 4 hour, it's buy opportunities that we're going to be looking out for. But before we decide to buy on this BTC USD, I would need to see price actually push up to break a high. Do you understand? So if price actually comes to break this high to the upside here, we have this resistance turn to support here. Do you understand? So at this point, I'll be looking at price coming back to tap this level or somewhere around here before continuing to the upside. But before seeing any buy opportunity, price actually needs to break that high first. That's basically what I have on BTC. And then the other one was USD JPY. Hmm. So this is USD JPY. Let me see the 4 hour time frame. 4 hour time frame is actually bullish. But then the 1 hour is looking like it wants to start shifting. So if you look at this, you see that we've been having series of higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low here. We created a higher high here also. And then now price has retraced fully to this low here. Do you understand? So it's looking like it actually wants to shift. And if this market eventually breaks this level to the downside here, see this level that I highlighted. If price actually breaks it to the downside on this USD JPY, then we'll start looking for sell opportunities. But before then, let's drop to the 1 hour time frame and then see what opportunities we could get. Now, on this 1 hour time frame, just like BTC USD, what I would like to see before I start looking for buy opportunities is a break of any high. Do you understand? And if you look at it, you see that the most recent high is here. So come market open, if price actually starts and then pushes up to break this level to the upside, then I'll be looking for like a retracement, then a continuation. That will be like my buy opportunity. Do you understand? Before they push to the upside. Now, what if price doesn't break above and then price comes down to break below here? Let's say price comes down to break this level to the downside. Then at this point, the market will shift. Do you understand? Even with the 4 hour time frame will shift at this point, so we'll start looking for sell opportunities. Do you guys get the idea? That's basically what I have on USD GPY. Any other question? Okay. No. So if you have any questions, you can ask before we call it an evening. In the absence of any other question, I would like to call it an evening. Thank you guys for actually joining the session. You guys should have a very wonderful evening, and I will catch you guys same time on Monday in the evening. Bye, guys. And hopefully, we'll have a very wonderful week. Bye, guys.